wanted to talk to you about Annette. Annette is one of the ladies that I worked with when I was a budget counselor. She knew that I helped women with their finances and reached out to me because she was tired of letting her husband do everything because she didn't understand it all. And if you're clueless about your finances and would like to know a few things and would like to know more, this video is for you. And if you like what you hear, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a video. So let's dig in. Annette came to me because she wanted to understand her money and finances from a woman's perspective. Through the years, she did ask her husband questions, but for some reason, she always felt he was impatient with her or talked down to her. Now, she told me looking back, she realized that it wasn't what he said, it was her reaction to what he taught her. Funny how it is about our reactions, isn't it? She also wanted to set up a long-term plan for their money. She was getting older and realized that they needed to put a more aggressive plan in place so they had money for their retirement. Her husband has his plan. She wanted to make sure that it was a sound plan. So we met in secret for a few months. She gathered her paycheck stubs, all her bank statements, receipts, credit card statements, everything we needed to create an accurate picture of money in and money out. We separated everything into categories such as food, car gas, utilities, eating out, vacations, mortgage payments, car payments, etc. And then we set up an online budget. I will link my favorite online budget in the description below. The beauty about an online budget is that all of the transactions are imported for you so you don't miss a one. Your checking and savings account transactions, your credit cards, and your debit cards, they are all set up. I showed Annette how to move these transactions that were imported into YNAB into their appropriate budget categories. And when we set up her budget, she subtracted all of her mandatory expenses, the ones that she had to spend every month no matter what, from her money in, which is her take-home pay. And what we used was left to set up a long-term plan for her and her husband. In order to set up a long-term plan, a few things needed to happen. So let me lay them out for you. First, as I mentioned, money in less mandatory expenses is your extra. The extra is what you use to pay for your clothes, kids' activities, savings, emergency fund, retirement, all the things. Now, I think that part of your mandatory expenses is also should be your savings. You should pay yourself first. Work your way up to a minimum of 20% of your gross pay before taxes. Set that aside as religiously as you do money for your mortgage, utilities, and food. Now for Annette, we were trying to determine how much money her savings retirement should be so that it could be set aside automatically every paycheck. So we work backwards. I asked her the hard questions. What were her long-term dreams and goals? Not just financial ones, but other ones as well. Because most of our dreams require money. We talked about where they wanted to retire. How much money did she think she would need to have in her retirement to live her retirement lifestyle? We talked about longevity. If they retired at age 65, they needed the money to live on until they were at least 85 or 90. 90 was a better number. She also knew that chances were that she would outlive her husband, and I wanted to make sure she had money for that too. We looked at debt and car payments. We looked at how much money her husband set aside in retirement already, and how much she set aside as well. And we did the math. Lifestyle per month minus the pension or retirement money received is the extra money that they needed to live a life that they wanted to live. We did not factor in Social Security because Social Security is not a sure thing, and we had a number. So let's say that she was short $1,000 a month. Let's just say that she needed $4,000 a month for her lifestyle. Her pension paid her $3,000, so she was short $1,000 per month. And I just made all these numbers up. So that she knew she had to set aside $12,000 a year times 20 years for ages 65 to 85. So they had the money to live on when they retired. And I need to interject. We also factored in a 3% inflation rate per year on top of that. But for this example, I did not do that. So if you take her $12,000 a year, multiply it times 20, they needed to have $240,000 set aside to live on to be 85 years old. Now, I have a retirement calculator that you can plug your numbers into that will help you, and I will link it in the description below. And because we started with the end in mind, we were able to set up a plan for additional savings and investing. And that was in her early 40s when we met for the first time. They had about 25 years to save the money they needed for retirement. So now we had the money in minus mandatory, minus retirement savings. The balance is what she used to set up all of her other savings categories and her spending categories, like clothes, eating out, vacations, all of those non-mandatory or discretionary things. Now we met about every 2 weeks for probably about 4-ish months. We made sure that the transactions were moved into the correct categories. We made sure that the categories had the correct amount of money set aside, because when setting up a budget, the numbers are close guesses. It takes months to make sure that they're correct. When Annette felt comfortable with her budget and her new knowledge about savings, investing, and budgeting, she met with her husband. She showed him what she learned and what she thought their plan should look like. And he loved it and was totally on board, and they went with it. So let me fast forward quite a few years. About 6 months ago, she called me and told me that her husband was going to retire at age 59. 6 years ahead of schedule, with all the money that they needed to live on, their lifestyle that they wanted, because we laid it out so many years ago. And she was so excited and wanted to thank me for helping her out. I'm telling you this for a few reasons. Number one, you can work backwards too. Start your goals and then adjust your savings plan accordingly. Number two, the earlier you begin saving for retirement, the less money you have to set aside each month. Number three, the Financial Independence Society coaching program be the answer to your financial dreams and goals. I will help you just like I did Annette, so that you too can find your financial freedom and joy. The link is in the description below. And as always, I'm cheering you on as you're working to create your financial freedom and joy.